What do you think about the stash?
The whole handlebar.
Hey, I gotta fit in somehow in the oil field.
Yeah,
I try and blend in the best I can. I figured this handlebar mustache would help out.
Is that oil field style right now? Current?
Yeah, well,
2018?
yeah, kind of, sort of. You see a lot.
And I know you got the hair growing out too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that hair's gonna get.
So I've wanted to grow out my hair for a while now. When I was with my ex, I never could grow out my hair. I could have, right, if I just had a pair of nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But she had my balls in her purse,
right?
You know, so I couldn't. So yeah, I had the idea to start growing my hair out. I guess back when we were still working out and shit all the time. And
I noticed you
just let it go.
You toyed with it.
I did.
You're like, let's see. I don't know.
I started combing it back and everything. And
trying to like, I'm getting a haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're going for it. How long are you going?
I don't know, man. To be honest,
sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit right now, right? I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah, handlebar, long hair. Fuck it.
Just get after it. Go out there, and I feel like I get a little more respect on the rigs.
Do you?
Yeah, it seems like it. Oh, this motherfucker, he's serious.
He's got a handlebar.
He's got a handlebar. Look out.
Fuck up and listen to him.
He might know something we don't. I don't know shit. I'm just here for a paycheck.
There are those guys out in the oil field that you look at them, you're like, oh, he's been here for...
Exactly. Yeah. As a matter of fact, this directional driller I was working with, me and him would just sit and talk all day, every day. And he wasn't like a prideful, arrogant man. He just really knew his stuff. He was very intelligent, and he knew what the hell he was talking about.
Yep.
And he'd done it for 36 years. Very smart man, and when he talked, you listened. Mm-hmm. About anything. Yep. It didn't matter what he was talking about. If he was talking about a drilling rig, drilling a well, or life. Mm-hmm. You listen to the man.
That's good. That's and
he put chills on me, like when he was talking. Like when this dude was talking, he wasn't just talking.
Right.
Shit was coming out.
Right.
And it was like I was meant to hear it.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Some people talk just like kind of going back to the people who wait for someone to stop talking. Some people talk so they can talk.
Yeah.
They just want to hear themselves. And then there's people that like when they talk, it's like, oh. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's saying something. Let's better listen up.
Oh yeah, dude. It's like I didn't even want to go to have to be like away. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, am I gonna miss out on something? Like,
fear.
Let me hurry up and go get my rest, and I'll get up and
FOMO. Your fear of missing out.
Exactly. Dude.
Yeah. Some people have that presence. They just have like this innate wisdom. I think it's like. He probably doesn't really give a shit about people's opinions. He doesn't find that interesting. He probably just. I mean, I think we all have that.
Right.
It just depends on how in touch you are with yourself versus how attached you are to everyone else's opinion and having the right opinion that's going to be accepted. A guy like that doesn't give a shit.
Nope.
He has the opinion. It's based on his experience. Based on probably some. I don't know. I tend to believe there's some innate wisdom that we have access to. That we kind of block ourselves off from. Guy like that, guy like that taps into it.
Speaking of that, man, when I was bombarding my life myself with alcohol abuse and substance abuse, it killed that.
Yeah.
It literally suffocated that.
That's the trade-off.
And it's like it's like walking around blindfolded. You know, you're just walking around this world in a darkness.
Like when you get chemotherapy, you it's to kill the cancer, but you have to kill a lot of other cells as well. It's kind of like I mean, I did the same thing with alcohol and with other drugs too. It was like kill my ability to be very conscious. Like and I think you're the same. Like I'm a very highly sensitive person by nature. I'm just very in tune. I'm very like aware and of what's going on and of people. Very empathetic, very in tune with other people's emotions, and just a lot going on. It feels good to numb out of that now and then.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you want to numb out. You want to just chill that out. It's like, let me zone out. Let me get away from all this. Mm-hmm. But it kills that. So now you're dead,
Right.
You're a zombie.
You're exactly right.
You're a zombie.
You're a walking dead man.
Even when you're not under the influence, it's like, it has a lasting effect. It takes time. Mm-hmm. You get sober or the high wears off, the drugs wear off. It takes time because it has a lingering effect where you're still numb. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took me damn near, we're in October, like 10 months.
Yeah.
For that to be awoken in me again and for me to be out of that, it was like, just like you said, you want, because in there, like being so aware and so caught, conscience of everything that is going on around you. And for people like you and I that are very empathetic and we're very we feel, I think a little more than most, and we pick up on things, and it's like therein lies all that pain and frustration. And for me, I had a lot of anger, and it was like, I've got to shut that down so I can just be.
Yeah.
So I can just sit here on the couch and not look like a freaking weirdo and, antsy. It's like now I feel lighter. I feel like I can be still. Like what we talked about when the meditating, like I did.
Right.
I feel like that's come back around full circle where I'm just fine at being in a room by myself, nothing going on, no TV, no distraction, and just being. And
that's whenever those feelings come up. And I think what people do with the substances, like the abuse, is it's like you're faced with a choice. Am I going to deal with this,
right,
or am I just going to like push it down for a minute? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So initially, when you have that silence, you have to deal with a bunch of shit.
Yeah, and
whatever
that's when you grow. You know.
Well, that's when you integrate it. That's whenever you take. Well, like it's like what you were saying, how. We handle things that happen to us pretty well. We don't handle our shortcomings very well. We don't handle our underperformance very well. We don't handle realizing shitty things about ourselves very well. And I think that's the type of thing we run from more than, it's not like, oh, work sucks, let me drink.
Yeah.
It's more like, I'm a disgusting human being. Holy shit, how did I have that thought? Oh my, why did I think about throwing my boss off a fucking bridge?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like,
right.
Or wow, I'm so lazy, or wow, I'm, whatever it happens to be. It's like realizing stuff about yourself, whether it be like violent tendencies. Like, keep in mind, we are pink chimps, we're chimps. We're these like highly advanced beings running on a chimpanzee operating system. So we still have an animal instinct calling us, and that animal instinct is savage, just like nature is. And we have to, if you ignore that stuff, you push it to your subconscious, and it controls you from a command post behind the scenes, and it comes out in all kinds of fucked up ways.
Right.
But if you integrate it, you have, I bet you this dude that you're referring to in the oil field, I bet you he's integrated a lot of that aggressive, masculine, energy, and whenever you are aware of it, then you have the ability to make choices with it. You're like, what am I going to do with this? What way am I going to channel this aggressive energy? If you shut it down, you might just throw your boss off a cliff.
Dude, spot on. So, dude, that's it. So society has made men
castrated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when we're, like you said, like when you're constantly restricting that, because society, is telling us a certain way we're supposed to be, but we've got this, like who we are, that's natural, and this part about us that we're trying to tame and like keep in society's little box they want it to stay in.
Yeah.
When you do that shit for a long time and you're all jacked up and not, operating the way you should, then that's when shit happens. When you wind up throwing your boss out of a 10-story building, or something crazy. You lose your shit at a red light and get out and yank somebody out of the car, or you have a temper fit and you don't know why,
Yeah, you assume it's because of this little trigger. Really, just something triggered something you've been pushing down. Yeah, 100%,
exactly.
100%. So it's that alone time is time for you to face all that. It's like, well, this is everything about me. All these thoughts I had. Let's explore that. What's that about?
Yeah.
What's going on here? That's called self-actualization. I'm reading that Nietzsche book right now, Beyond Good and Evil. He's big on I mean, all the philosophers talk about that.
Yeah.
But it's basically integrating the shadow. The shadow is just the shit we shove down to the garage. The garage is like the subconscious of the house.
Where we store all the bullshit, Hey, you can't go in the garage. Don't go in there.
Yeah.
You don't let any of your guests
nice
go
in
to
here.
the garage. Yeah, come in here. Don't go in the garage.
Let's pretend that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then like a family of raccoons starts living in there and starts tearing apart your house, and they, and all of a sudden the subconscious starts leaking into the conscious, and in ways you're like, what the hell is going on here?
Exactly.
Fucking python came in from the garage.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You mentioned when we were when I was working out every day with you, when I was still, before I got back in the oil field, when I was at the gym every day with you, you mentioned one time about getting in that quiet place and that still place,
Right.
and it's like a filing cabinet, right? It's like we open up the file. You have time to open up the filing cabinet and file stuff away where it's supposed to go and look at it, see it, and be okay with it, regardless of what it is. You know, not necessarily like you have to be okay with something you don't really like about yourself, but no, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And be
At
able
least
to look
shine light on it.
exactly,
Yeah.
and then you can make a plan on how you're going to go about changing whatever making the changes you need to make.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think isolating yourself from people and not being around positive people, especially. So isolating yourself from all people as a whole is terrible. But if you're going through challenging times and you're not doing so well yourself, the worst thing you can do, I believe, is surrounding yourself with people who are just like you at that time. If you want to be different and if you want to make a change, you have to not just try and change yourself, but you have to remove yourself from where you're at completely. That means people, environment, hell, even the music you're listening to, the things you're reading, the things you're watching, because all that shit's still feeding all the bullshit, you know? And in order to stop that from building up and growing to this giant monster that it has been growing and becoming, you've got to remove yourself from it and start building up another not monster, because it's a good thing at that point, but build up a monster, but a good monster, you know, a big, what you want, so you can take out the old crap,
Nothing wrong with being dangerous,
right?
Nothing wrong with being dangerous. In fact, I would recommend it. It's just, and that aggressive energy is part of that. It's just, if you suppress it, it turns into a tyrant. If you acknowledge it, it turns into a leader, a powerful leader.
That's right.
But yeah, I'd recommend being dangerous over being impotent. Yeah, it's like the bunny rabbit can't be noble. Yeah,
right. I liked whenever you talked about that.
Yeah, the bunny rabbit can't be noble.
No,
because it doesn't have a choice. Give the bunny rabbit some power, then watch what happens. Yeah. But the man who's dangerous, who's capable, who's aware of all his monstrous tendencies, but who chooses good anyways, even despite those, or channels them into good. Well, he's dangerous and he's competent, and he's that's the man that society looks to lead and protect.
That's right.
You want to run it back to give us like a origin story, like
kind of like a little
comic book, like who's Jason and where's he coming from, and like
yeah, man. So all my life I've been just a really upbeat, outgoing, positive person, and just in love with life and everything about it, and always have been a positive influence, I believe, on everyone around me. In my teenage years, I started being introduced to some things that, like your typical drinking and smoking pot and stuff like that, and it was all harmless at the beginning, right?
Kind of just experimentation.
Yeah, experimentation type deal, and for fun, we're raising hell, we're kids, we're having fun, we're stealing beer out of the parents' pool house, and running around doing harmless stuff, right? And at the time, there's nothing, it's what kids do, right? And so I really began to start to use that, though, as a crutch whenever I started facing difficult times. It went from being something that was like for fun to like, oh, that also numbs the hell out of me, and I really don't think about anything or really care about anything when I'm like that.
Do you remember the first time you ever were like, oh, this works as medicine too?
Oh, probably when I was about 17 or 18. That's when I started using all that as like a coping mechanism.
I see.
As opposed to just doing it for fun. It was like feet hit the floor out of bed, and it's like, what can I get my hands on to kill this right up here?
What were you trying to numb out?
So I'd gotten in trouble my freshman year to where I couldn't play baseball. And my junior year, I blew out my knee, and sports was my life. I had it in my head I was going to go off and be a Major League Baseball player, and that's what I lived, breathed, slept. That was life.
Killed your identity, killed your plans.
Exactly. That was my identity, man. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, shit. Now what, and problems at home, growing up, not like it was anything real terrible. Everybody goes through problems at home, whether it be mom and dad fighting or you and your brothers not getting along or whatever, a death. in the family. I lost aunt, uncles, just like everybody else, you know. But I never handled death well at all, for whatever reason.
It's a tough thing to learn how to handle.
It is, and for whatever reason, it brought up like fear in me of losing other people, and I would literally have that thought a lot, you know, like almost constant, like worried about losing my mom or my dad or one of my brothers or something, you know, and it's like fear was driving my life.
Right.
And that's not a good thing, you know, because when you're constantly living in fear, it's like you're stuck.
White knuckling it.
Yeah.
Hoping for the best.
Exactly. Yeah. And that'll make you miserable as shit.
Right.
You know, and so in turn, you go to just try and escape that, right? So, long story short, my life became about escaping my feelings that I didn't enjoy feeling, my emotions that I didn't enjoy having. It was about numbing all that, suppressing it, and it became like a 24/7 deal, you know? And finally it got to a point after all the legal trouble I've been into and the financial trouble that it had caused me, it was just like, man, I've got to make a choice. I can either give in to this and die, because I could feel death. Like, yeah, literally, it's like I could feel death around me.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I felt it.
Yeah.
I felt that it was like pressure, man. It was like literal weight and like pressure on me, and a darkness like I'd never experienced before. I'd been to dark places before, but this was like a whole new level of darkness that was like, whoa, shit, you know?
Right.
Like, this is all encompassing, and this is terrible. And
just taking over more and more of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To where I didn't even know who I was anymore. I remember breaking down crying to my dad in the well house one day, and I was like, Dad, I don't even know who I am anymore. I said, I don't know where to go, what to do.
How old were you at this point?
This 2018. This was back in April, May.
So this is towards the end, before you decided to get sober, and it's kind of like a wake up. Would you say that's kind of like when you started waking up, like, holy shit?
Yes, it was like made real to me that you're at that crossroad. Like, you can put on your blinker and head right, or you can put on your blinker and head left.
So before that,
death,
you didn't
right
really.
is life.
Sorry, before that, you didn't really have that.
No,
it was just smooth sailing. Substances or making it okay, gliding along.
Yeah, it's like escaping all the crap, you know, and being able to make it, you know, nothing real.
So you pulled that off for what, 10 years?
Yeah, about 10
years?
Yeah, about 10 years. How, I don't know.
Yeah.
Grace of God. Just.
Do you have many memories or thoughts or anything from that 10-year block?
That's the craziest thing about it. It's a blur. I really and truly, you know, people say, oh, I don't remember what I did last night, or I don't remember, you know, got so drunk I don't remember. Literally, I don't remember a chunk of my life.
Yeah.
10 years, there's very few memories there.
Right.
You know, like the big ones stand out, like when me and my brother totaled his Porsche and it almost killed both of us.
Yeah.
You know, like that. It cut the car in half right behind the two seats. You know, so things like that stick out. But as far as like trying to give you a rundown of like events from 20 to now, it's just a haze. It's a blur. I just know it was miserable.
So like the first kind of memory that pops out, aside from like almost dying in a Porsche, is like when you're like, I gotta go right or left here, and that's when you were talking to your dad.
And it was spiritual, man. It wasn't just. It was like I told you, I could feel death around me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that other than I can just tell you I felt it.
Right.
And it was a heaviness, and it was a pressure and a darkness that I had never dealt with or experienced. And it was so much so that it was like a light bulb went off and was like, hey, yeah, this is what's coming up for you. You can either choose life or you can choose death. What do you want? And obviously we all want life, right? We're born to survive. You know, it's our natural instinct. Keep going and living, right?
Right.
And I was like, okay, I want to live, but I don't know how to do what I need to do, whatever that may be, to make it, you know, to keep going. And
so when you had this this when you kind of came to this crossroad, am I going right or left, death or life? Was that like a thought you had, or how did that come to you?
It was really like a thought.
Yeah.
Like it was. I'd never felt so weak, physically,
Right.
and mentally. Like I couldn't even take dropping my phone in between the seat of my car. Like that would bring me to tears. Something that small of an inconvenience, you know, or let's say I lost my keys for a total of 3 minutes. A minute and a half into it, I was throwing shit around the house and punching holes in the fucking wall. That's how unstable I was. And I knew, you know, this is bad. This is not good. This is not going to end well for me, you know? And it was almost like, I didn't hear an audible voice or anything, but it was as close to it as it can get. It's like, man, it's life or death. And it's now.
Right. Interesting.
The reason I decided to throw cigarettes out the window and everything that was not anything good for me was because I always relate back to athletics, because athletics was a huge part of my life. It's where a lot of my discipline came from. A lot of my structure, if not all my structure in my life up to that point, was a result of athletics from the Alito athletic program,
right?
Which I'm very grateful for. I had coaches that were great men and taught me responsibility, taught me work ethic, and they taught you structure. You know, like they really taught you how to structure your life and be a successful human being, whether you played sports a day in your life after high school or not.
Sports are a great metaphor for life. You know, it's
exactly
aiming at a target, competition. You got to lose, you got to win, you got to handle both.
That's
you
it.
You got a goal to reach as a team. Yeah, it's a great metaphor for life.
Yeah, and you know, I was like, well, I guess I need to start working out. You know, and I used to despise going and working out.
So you went from, you were talking to your dad, and was it long after that you decided, got to do something?
As a matter of fact, it was right then. It was like the next day.
Next day, you decided to go to the gym?
I was driving from Fort Worth back home. I either went and visited a friend or I went and ran an errand. I can't remember, but regardless, I was coming from Fort Worth to Alito, where I live. Willow Park's right there in between. And I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, golly, this is terrible. I hate these things. Well, I'm even smoking. I was like, I got to go to the gym. I got to start doing something. I was like, I've got to make a drastic change. And I was like, I've never worked out, you know, on my own.
Was drastic a key word?
Yes. I knew it had to be like something I'd never done before.
None of this like little habit change one thing stuff.
No,
right?
it was like take
Overhaul.
everything you're doing right now and everything you're about right now and throw that shit out the window, because it hadn't worked for the past 10 years.
Well, it's like what you said about your crowd, right? Like you got to change everything.
Exactly.
You can't be running with the same crowd, listen to the same music,
Yep.
do the same things and expect to change that one thing in there.
Right.
It's like, you've got to not only cut that crowd off, cut these things off, you also have to not give a fuck what that crowd thinks about you. Because they're going to try and crab in the barrel you. You know, as you climb out of that barrel, they're going to try and pull you down. It's got to be drastic. Interesting. So you pulled into Willow Park to the gym.
So I'm driving down the road. I'm driving down the interstate, and I'm like, fuck, throw those cigarettes out the window. I did a fresh pack, too. I'd only smoked like 2 or 3 of them. So I threw them out. And I didn't have any money at this point. $7.58 was a shit ton of money to me at the time. You know? So that was... You know, I threw them out the window, and I was like, I guess I'm going to get a gym membership. You know, that was the first thing I thought of, because it was like, what do you not want to do do the most? You know, because I knew that's what was best for me.
Interesting
probably.
That you knew that.
Yeah. So I was like,
it's a fly.
I was like, and I knew it'd start bringing that structure and a routine back into my life.
What do I not want to do most? That's interesting.
Yeah. And the
was
gym.
there any, now honestly, like, you know, it doesn't have to be all nobility. Like, was there any element of masochism, like self-inflicting? Like, did you know what masochism is?
I think so.
It's like you want to like inflict pain on yourself.
Yeah, probably
A little bit of that.
Yeah. I'm sure. Because I think there was a lot of that in my life even before that point. You know, where it was like maybe I didn't feel worthy of being a happy person or something, and I just was always just trashing myself. You know.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there was some of that in there for sure.
It just happened to be a new thing that produced favorable results.
Exactly.
Even if it did have a little bit of masochism.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, man. Because I despised it, man. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to breathe hard and feel like I'm going to pass out and die
Yeah.
on my own, doing.
Yeah.
I'd rather sit on the couch and smoke weed all day.
Yeah.
And not think about shit. Eat Cheetos.
Right.
That's much
100%.
easier. There's no effort into that.
The downhill.
Yeah, man. Just whatever.
Yeah.
And I go up there, and that's when I met you the day after going up there. I talked to Brett,
Right.
and he's like, I think you need a trainer. He's like, I think you need to come 5 days a week, because I shared with him my story where I was at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I basically told him I was suicidal, and death was all around me, and I had to make a change. I was like, Brett, I just threw my cigarettes out the window. I was like, I'm serious, dude. I actually had a workout with him that day before I left the gym. He's like, here, well, I'm going to run you through a little 30-minute exercise real quick. I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, dude, I remember being like, it was like a circuit he put me through.
Uh-huh.
And that last little third round or whatever, like the last thing I think was maybe sit-ups or something. I just remember laying on my back in that gym and being like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Like, I'm going to die here. Like, yeah, sure as shit. That's what I was feeling. This is it. I'm about to die.
Oh, yeah. That death I saw around me.
Yeah.
It was warning me about this place. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It was telling me to keep smoking the cigarettes. Stay away from the gym. I fucked up.
Yeah, right?
Right.
And it turned out, going back to the athletics still, it's like that brought that structure back into my life and that routine.
Well, I mentioned the masochism, but that was just out of curiosity on my part. But would you think there was also some type of foresight on your part where you're like, you went back to sports, you went back to when did I have structure? Well, physical exercise.
Yep.
Structure in a structured way.
That's where I always go back to.
Default mode.
Default mode.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it was a process. I mean, it was not easy at all. Every morning when my phone went off, my alarm went off, it was like, you got to make up some bullshit excuse to Mitch why you can't be there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And just the little things were hard, like getting up on time and making it there on time to something that I was committed to, and I had another person there waiting on me. And then as the more days I stacked on top of each other, I'm not saying that even in between, after stacking a whole bunch of days on top of each other, that I never fell off and had my moments. You saw that.
Of course, yeah. Everyone will.
But it's like the more you stick with something, regardless of if you're having a blast while doing it or it really sucks.
Yeah.
If you know what's best for you and you stick with that and you keep stacking days, then eventually I feel like you're destined for a breakthrough. Right. It might not be when you want it or when you think it should be, but if you just keep the faith and keep with it and keep pursuing it, it's like 1 + 1 = 2. It's going to happen.
And what do you mean by a breakthrough?
Whatever that is for anybody.
Yeah.
Whether that's being able to not break down and cry one day, over the bullshit you were going through or been through, being able to be strong enough to handle all the disappointments and whatnot, as opposed to being hung up on a negative mind track, So for me, my breakthrough was, I told you that day when I was driving home from the gym, and it was like it was all made known to me. It was like I was crying tears of joy.
Right. Yep.
And I didn't even know where the hell it came from. It was like all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I'm still alive. I'm here. I've got, another second lease on, or 500,000th lease on life, millionth chance, you know, and I kind of started to go play back some of the events and look back and like, I made it through that. I made it through that. I made it through that. Holy shit. Like, whoa, wow. And I've abused my body. I've treated my body like shit. I've put myself through the ringer. I don't have cancer. I don't have diabetes. I don't have any kind of illness. And you look around the world and you see all these people hurting and suffering and going through things, and you're like, man, It's time to get my shit together and take advantage of what I still have and put it towards something positive. You know, make something good out of it as opposed to trashing the shit out of it like I had been.
Yeah, that's a big point right there. I think you hit this point where you decide, well, yeah, I mean, first of all, looking at things with gratitude instead of through a negative lens, like, wow, look at all my blessings here.
Right.
And then with that, through that gratitude, you're like, I have a responsibility. Jordan Peterson, a guy I like to listen to on YouTube, he talks a lot about taking responsibility, and he uses harsh language, but he says, do something to justify your existence. Now, I don't believe you have to justify your existence, but I do think you should live like you do. Like, you're here. You could have been born a shoe.
Yeah.
But you weren't.
Right.
Well, so what are you going to do about that? Right? Justify the fact that you're taking up space.
Yeah.
You're here, you're breathing air. Make that worth nature's while. Like, nature, nature, God created you. Make it worth their while.
Yeah. Dude, that's a very good point. I like that a lot.
I like that too.
And I like how you said don't necessarily.
I don't think you necessarily have to.
But live like it.
I think you should live like it.
I
think everyone has that spark of divinity, whatever that might mean. I think everybody is just automatically valuable being a human being. I don't think there's anything to prove, but with that said, I think we should live like there is. Like, I think not necessarily something to prove, but live like you've got to justify your existence.
Yeah.
Like, pick up a heavy load, like Peterson says.
Yeah.
Pick up a heavy load, justify your existence, and take responsibility. And that, I mean, through that, I think is where you get that lasting satisfaction from life.
I agree.
Instead of chasing the pleasures, you're like, how about instead of chasing these pleasures, I go this way, I just pick up this heavy load, I take responsibility, and I justify my existence. I, like you said, like, I got to channel all these blessings into something good instead of just pissing them away.
That's right, dude.
I don't know why I just did like a.
No, you're good. You talked about taking responsibility. I'm glad you said that because I never took responsibility for shit in my life.
Right.
Ever. It was always that person's fault. It was always this event's fault. It was always because of that. It was because of this. It was now hell yeah, I took responsibility if something great was going on. Yeah, that's all me. I take responsibility for that. But when shit was hitting the fan, this, that, I never would take responsibility for anything that wasn't going the way I wanted it to, you know?
And you think that frustrated a small part of you? Because we were saying before, we always know whenever we're operating at 10%, when we have 90% more to do, when we get pissed off and agitated when we know we're underperforming to our potential. You think you kind of realize that somewhere deep inside you was like, man,
I'm not ticking here 100%.
Yeah.
You know,
we're passing blame again. Okay.
Yep.
But we can't own up to shit, huh? Okay. Did you find that frustrated you?
And lying to yourself, lying to myself.
Then you kill your intuition because you can't even trust yourself.
Yeah, it's just everything's bullshit at that point. Right. It was literally hard to look at myself in the mirror because everything about me was a lie. Everything and not like I lied about what I ate for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or lied about where I went when I left the house, when I went to the store, but like, lying to myself about, who I was, the kind of person I was. I was not only fooling myself and lying to myself, but I was making myself out to other people to be somebody I was not even close to, man. It was complete dog shit. Yeah. And that's hard to live with, man.
It is.
When you go home at night and it's just you, and you're like, oh, man.
Take off that mask and look
in
the mirror.
I'm a piece of shit.
Right. Authenticity is, I mean, it's important for yourself.
Right.
Man, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think out of all, talk about the frustration and the anger with myself, I think almost all of it stemmed from just the fact I knew I was full of shit.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hence the point why I couldn't stand being around people who were full of shit.
That's a bullet point for sure.
Because it was, bam, a direct reflection of me. I can't stand that motherfucker. He's so fake. She's so fake. There's no. they're not who they, are acting like they are saying, and, it's like there's some fake people, man. I can't stand fake people. Why? Because I was fake, man.
Yeah, interesting.
Nothing about me was true. It was all bullshit.
Just looking at a bunch of mirrors.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I stayed pissed off, right. All the time,
Yeah.
And that's a shitty place to be.
So whenever you and I met for the first workout, you were more open, because everybody goes to the gym. Everybody takes up fitness. Of course, everybody wants to be in good physical shape. That's a very normal thing to want. But there's always a layer under that. It's like I can't look at myself in the mirror without, offending myself before I get in the shower, or it's like my wife's not attracted to me, or it's like I give presentations at work and I don't even feel confident with my gut hanging out, or there's always like a layer, something emotionally based underneath it. But no one comes out with it. Like people keep that to themselves so they get to know their coach a little bit, and it's tough to get that out of them.
Right.
It's important to get that out of them. It's important to bring that up because that makes it meaningful. Losing 40 pounds, that's easy to brush off.
Yeah.
But like whenever you get down to the meaning, like that deep meaning, like why am I really here? You can't brush that off anymore because it's such an important aspect of your life. But with you, it was first time we met. It was like I was like, "Hey, I'm Mitch." Or like, "Hey, I'm Jason. I'm fucked up. I'm here to turn my life around."
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, here we go. We can work with this."
Yeah. Yeah.
You come to the right place. But like, was that easy? Is that natural? Is that?
To be honest with you, it's natural for me, and it's got me into trouble at times. Like work environments and stuff like that. It's like, hold up, you ain't gotta be that transparent just yet. But it's I think it's a gift that I have, or maybe not necessarily a gift. It's a personality trait that I have that is good, and it can also not be so good. I mean, depending on how you want to take that.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I've always been really transparent, and always I had a friend of mine, as a matter of fact, she was like, "You say way too much. You need to shut up. Like, they don't even know you. They don't need to know that about you." I'm like, it's me.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way.
It's me. If they don't like it, whatever.
Yeah.
It's me.
You're right.
And I've had it not go my way, before. Mainly when it comes to professional work stuff, have to do with jobs and stuff.
Same. Yep.
Like, we're gonna have to let you go.
Yeah.
But other than that, nah, man, I wouldn't trade it for the world, dude.
Of course.
Yeah, I would rather be like that.
Same. I agree with you. I'm the same way.
And how would you have been able to help me?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like you were talking about, the underlying issue is why people come in and are wanting to do. Yeah, we all want to have a good looking body that we picture in our head that we would like to have, but I really believe there's always something below the surface.
Yeah, there's something driving it. There's an emotion driving it somewhere down there. And a lot of the time people don't actually know what it is. So I like to dig for it, but I also I understand not everyone's like us and is going to come out with it right away. Sometimes never, but yeah, it makes it a lot easier. And those days whenever you were like, the alarm goes off, you're like, fuck. Obviously you didn't make it every time,
right?
But you made it quite a bit. You made it to, you were very consistent. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you knew what this was about. If it was like, I kind of want big arms, but but I also want to sleep right now, so that's easy to brush off. But when you're like, I know what this is about. This is, taking it back to the sports.
That's it, dude.
The structure. This is me saving. Well, death was whispering in my ear a couple months ago. Yeah. Maybe I should get my ass to the gym.
Yeah. Hey, you hit it right on the head, dude. It wasn't about big arms for me. Obviously, hell yeah, I wanted big arms and a nice six pack, and I wanted to take my shirt off at the beach and have chicks checking me out and whatnot. But it was about making myself a better person, being that person that I always wanted to be, and being able to not feel like a piece of shit, not feel like a failure. If I didn't make it there on time, that was failure to me.
Right.
Regardless if I showed up that day, if I wasn't there on time, that was that I considered that failing, because that's what I was trying to work on, was punctuation and just a tight ship. I wanted to run a tight ship in my life because I had been running a very loose ship up to that point, and it caused nothing but problems,
Gotcha.
So that's, like you say, that's what it was about.
I'm working with a client right now. Reminds me a lot of you. You remind me of him. He went through an addiction. He's coming out of it, and he also came to fitness and training, strength training, to be the foundation of his transition out of that. And he also mentioned that his confidence, he had none. Like, it was shattered. Like, no confidence. He's working to get a job, and it's like he's bombing interviews because no confidence.
Right.
You can't kill an interview without confidence. And I asked him the other day. Well, he mentioned my confidence is like higher than it's ever been ever. Like, before addiction, pre, any time. I was like, higher than it's ever been ever, and he's killing it. Probably seen his pictures on.
I have.
Yeah, that's the dude.
He is killing it.
Yeah. And says confidence higher than ever. And I was like, well, what do you think is contributing to that? I was like, well, it could be the fact you just lost a ton of fat and built a ton of muscle. It's not even that. That does not hurt one bit to have a body in shape. But he's like, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks because I know I'm killing it every day. It's like, that's it. Because you're killing it every day. Because you're doing the process. Not because of the outcome. The outcomes are great. But he's confident because he knows he's killing it every day.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
When you know you're kicking ass, you don't have those second thoughts in your head like, who am I, or what am I doing, or am I
am I coming after them? Or,
it's
yeah,
like,
right.
I know I'm getting up every day, and I'm almost hurt my wrist there.
Yeah, careful with that.
Yeah. I'm going forward, and I'm kicking ass, man. Like, get out of my way, dude.
Right.
Get with me or get out of my way. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm running your ass over. He's got that kind of momentum with him, So yeah, there is no room for that self-doubt and not having confidence, as opposed to walking into an interview room kind of head down, slumped over. It's like he's walking in there, chest out, I'm sure, hey, how you doing? I'm Jason Hatcher, nice to meet you. And
it's everything,
and posture's right and everything, you carry yourself like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. This is my world, Everyone else is just living in it, you know what I mean? And we don't want to get like, you don't want to be a cocky prick or arrogant, but you do. It's important to have that confidence.
Yeah, self-assuredness.
And you got to have a little cockiness with you, man, because I think that's very attractive to everybody. People want to be around people like that. You know, and that's how I think.
It's like a secret little sauciness.
Yeah, right. And that's the way leaders are, man.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna listen and follow somebody that's timid and isn't even sure of themselves.
The bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
Bunny rabbit's not leading shit.
No. Right. That's it.
Maybe a protest.
Probably. I bet.
We'll end it there. We don't want to alienate everybody.
Yeah.
So from the day you came in, you're like, hey, I'm Jason, I'm fucked up, and I'm here to turn things around, to the day you got the job and the new job and headed off. What was how would you sum up the transition, like from the beginning where like, man, this is terrible, to like where you ended up?
I'm glad you asked that question. So from the get-go, the beginning was like all fresh and all new, and it was like I was able to see immediate huge leaps and bounds of progress because I was way down here at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So just the fact that I was waking up every day and going to the gym and holding myself accountable with another person to be there and do shit, that was already like boom, way up here, right?
Motivation sky high.
Yeah,
you're riding
dude,
the wave.
right? And it was like a short burst of like, bam, I'm way up here, right? So to be honest with you, throughout from start to finish, it was like if you were to chart it on a graph, it's like boom, all of a sudden, like here's your graph. So like right here, it's like an immediate just like spike. And then it kind of plateaued, and then I started learning things about myself that I didn't like and dealing with some more shit that came up and I was starting to be aware of. And then it was like it kind of screwed with my mentality and my confidence and kind of dropped off a little bit.
What kind of things were you dealing with? You don't have to get into it if you don't want to.
Like showing up late, like to our meetings, like not just every now and again, but it was starting to become kind of... It started to become kind of persistent.
That might have been part of because everyone starts out with that wave of momentum and motivation sky high, and then the honeymoon phase is over. Now it's like this is just hard ass work and and then like you say, it's like the honeymoon phase ended, and then I started seeing other things I had to work with, which was there was a few of them that was the discouraging. Like the simple stuff was what was really dragging me down, like
flying. I was still flying off the handle over small things. My temper was still way out of control. I was letting certain people get to me that I shouldn't have. And it was just like, now I'm just going through the motions again, right? You know, it's like, where's the excitement? You know? And then started seeing some muscle gain. And feeling really good. And then, you know, started going up again, you know? And eventually kind of leveled out there and just I guess I found out who I was, man. I'd spent so many years not knowing like what I wanted out of life and who I was. And after I had time to remove those cobwebs and crap, it's like being reborn almost, man. It's like figuring everything out again for the first time. So like I had those ups and downs throughout our process together because I'd find out shit I really didn't like about myself, and that'd kind of bring me down a little bit. Then it'd be like, I would meet with you. Like I remember one time coming in there at a point where I showed up and I was I was having a bad morning, and I was in tears and I was upset, and I was like, man, why am I still struggling with this, you know? And we didn't even work out that day. You just talked to me for 30 minutes and we had a really good conversation, you know? And so I guess the highs and the lows of going through everything was like finding out things about me, digging out crap about me and seeing it, stuff being brought to the surface that was not enjoyable to see or deal with. But then, you know, having you to have an accountability partner and somebody every day help bring me through each one of those times. Whenever like I'd be up here and I'd be doing good, and then when I'd get down there, you know, we were there to talk to each other about it and look at it, like put it under a magnifying glass and, well, why are you feeling this way? Or why are you showing up late? Or why are you doing this? You know, there's a reason to everything, right? And when you stop and look at it and you have somebody else to stop and look at it with you from that's not in your head and coming from your situation, outside looking in, they can identify certain things, bring certain things to light, and then you can develop a plan of attack. And you can start attacking those issues, and then you make it through that one and you cruise for a bit, and then you might find something else out, you know, that kind of brings you down. You're like, oh shit, got to deal with this, you know. But when you look at it, identify it, and then you make solution, you come up with a plan and a solution for it, then you can attack it and defeat it, you know, and move on to the next thing. And I think that's what life's all about, is constant being aware. And just constant, like we're always changing, right? Like I told you, I could look back on September and I was doing really good, but now I'm in October and I'm like, wow, I'm doing even better than I was in September. So I think that's what life's all about. Making yourself a better person than you were the day before. Whatever that may be. You know, just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
So, you know, like the superhero movies, the Avengers and all that. Like why the reason we love superheroes, like first of all, I think like the superheroes are like the modern day pantheon of the gods, like the Greek gods kind of situation. And they kind of embody something, an ideal to strive for. But I think like the stories are also, they restore order whenever chaos strikes, right? And I think we like that metaphor because that's kind of like you said, that's just like the cycle of life. It's like things are good in Central City or in Gotham, and all of a sudden it's not. Some shit pops off and someone's got to restore order. Well, we need the superhero to do that. We need the best version of humanity, best, you know, the very best we've got to restore order. Like a regular human won't do in this situation. Like you need the best, your highest self, and then you got to restore order.
Dude, that's a very good analogy right there, man. That's my life. I mean, that's for me.
For sure, that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is, dude.
And you know, there's danger. So it's order and chaos, right? Chaos strikes. Sometimes it strikes, and then you have to make order of it. Sometimes chaos striking could be something that happens in your life, or sometimes chaos striking could be like, oh, it turns out I'm late all the fucking time. And I got to do something about this because it's frustrating the hell out of me, and this is not working for me. What am I going to do? Like you said, you have to look at it. Don't hide it. Just be like, okay, well, what's going on here? Instead of being like, well, you know, it's tough because, like, hold up. I'm a late ass motherfucker all the time. I'm late all the damn time. Why? What's going on here? And what can I do about it? What am I going to do to fix this? And that's whenever you take responsibility, throw that load on, and then you feel good. Yeah, but on the other side of the coin, sometimes you spend too much time in order. Mm-hmm. So we like to be, we like to stand in order. Got your life together, it's somewhat predictable, but a little chaos, just enough to keep things interesting. And we know what we got to do. We're progressing on a timeline. Mm-hmm. Things are going well. So you want to be standing in order. But you don't want to have one foot like dancing into chaos, right? Mm-hmm. One foot standing into chaos. It's because that's where you progress. Mm-hmm. You can't progress when things are like exactly as they are.
Right.
You have to like mess it up a little bit and head into the cave a little bit and be like, what's up in here?
Yeah.
And it's like a little chaotic. You got to make order out of it. Uh-huh. You spend too much time in order. If things are too orderly for too long, that's when your soul dies.
Yeah.
That's whenever it's like people are going to the same job. They come home. They watch the same Netflix series. They drink the same 3 beers. They go to bed. They wake up. They're like, what the fuck? Is this life?
Yeah.
It's like, maybe I'll get, it's like, what are your goals? Like, what's your mission? It's like, maybe I'll get a promotion and be able to buy a TV for the spare bedroom. Oh, that'll make you feel good for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you can get caught in either one. You want to make sure you're striking that balance. You spent a decade in chaos. Mm-hmm. It was all about making order. You had a big project. Mm-hmm. A big project there and make order, and then there's some aftershocks and a little bit of order to clean up the corners, getting the cobwebs out.
Yeah.
And other people, it can be the opposite. Be like, well, I just spent 10 years in a fucking cubicle. Is this life? Because this is awful.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe you should jump into chaos. Maybe you should step out. Maybe you should quit your job. I'm not saying you should quit your job.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like maybe like find out what's agitating you, and you should do something about it, because you are gonna die, and somewhere down the space-time continuum, some version of you is taking his last breath, looking back at his life, and he's probably not gonna be pumped that you were a pussy your whole life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, dude.
You've got to make decisions for that guy.
That's right.
Got to. I heard it put away. I love it. Like, you are not a person. You are a community of people that exists, planted over a timeline. Mm-hmm. You're a whole community. You can't just think for yourself. You got to think for Jason in a week. You got to think for Jason in 8 years. Like, you're a group. You're a group of people. And
like that.
You got to make decisions for all those guys. Like, well, how's this going to play out for me? That's why things like lying to yourself, like, like what it's a book, Meditations. Marcus Aurelius says, like, he's like, you
Marcus Aurelius, the guy that they made the movie Gladiator over?
No, Marcus Aurelius is I don't believe they made a movie about him. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor, and he was also a philosopher. Stoicism was his school of philosophy, and I've got his book. I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you. It's maybe my favorite book ever.
Really?
Maybe, yeah. It's his own personal journal where he just kind of, it wasn't meant to be published. It was him, so it's somewhat repetitive and choppy, which is cool. It's kind of like getting right in his head. But it's all based on Stoic thought, and it's him working through life. But he says, like, for a good life, I might be butchering this a little bit, but for a good life, he says, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. He's like, there it is. Now you can go to bed, sleep like a baby.
Wow.
And I think you got to consider that for all, if it's not right and you do it, never mind everybody else that it's going to affect around you. What about that whole community of yous down the timeline who's got to live with that?
Because it's like a ripple effect, right? Like what you do
forever.
today, it just
forever. Yeah. So that's one of my favorite things.
That's pretty neat.
I love that book. I'll give it. It's over there. I'll give it to you.
I definitely would like to read that for sure.
Think of yourself as you're a community of people, not just an individual.
Yeah, dude.
You got to think of that dude taking his last breath. You got to think of yourself in a week from now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to lay on my deathbed and be like, yep. Remember the dude that we talked about that...
Socrates.
He's like, yep. Now my arms don't work. Yep. Now I'm not going to be able to talk. Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, just chilling. Like, just like, yeah, it's going.
Socrates might be the coolest guy in history. Like, he was a warrior and a poet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, now a lot of people think of him because he's a philosopher. Marcus is the same way. Marcus Aurelius, a warrior poet.
Huh.
I like the warrior poet persona. Like, it's like that hard, dangerous man with a very poetic, soft, sensitive side. Yeah, I think that's a good ideal image.
Uh-huh.
Socrates was like no one really knows that not no one, but not many people know that he was a warrior, like a serious warrior.
I didn't know.
But he took the hemlock or poison and it like started from the ground up. And he's like, yeah, legs are numb, but I still feel a hole. So maybe there is an aspect of you that lives on after life. He's like, well, yeah, it worked up to his tongue. He's like, well, I'm not gonna be able to talk soon, so see ya.
I'm out.
That's how I want to go out. I don't want to go out kicking and screaming.
I don't want to go out bitching and
regretting,
and worrying and regretting.
Regretting and fearing.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two tough ones. I haven't dropped the fear yet myself. Mm-hmm. I still have that fear. Mm-hmm. If someone told me I was going to die in a week from cancer, I'd be petrified. Mm-hmm. Petrified. Mm-hmm. My goal is to get to a point where I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had a guy tell me that he's fine with that, you know. I don't know at what point it hits for everybody or when it does. I would like to be able to tell you right now, and I think I'm being truthful when I say this, that if I did get, you know, a death sentence thrown at me right now, mm-hmm. I would like to say that I think I would handle that pretty well. Mm-hmm. I'd like to say that, you know. I might be completely full of shit right now saying that, but
it's one of those things you can't know, I don't think.
Right, until you're faced with it.
And then I think that's when you process it.
Right.
I don't know, my dad's dad died when he was very young.
But now, and I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. I don't want to sound prideful from what I just said. Go back 3 weeks ago, and my answer would be completely different.
I'm the same.
So I didn't mean to say that like, well, no, I got it. I'd be fine with it. Yeah. I wasn't trying to do that. Because go back 3 weeks ago, and fuck no.
I go through cycles,
you know,
like
and it might change. Yeah. You know. So there's that. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's
there
fine.
Like that. I just wanted to make sure I cleared that up before.
I go through cycles like that too, where you're like, you know what, everything's all right.
Yeah.
And then I'll wake up in a cold sweat a week
mm-hmm.
later, like, holy shit, I'm gonna die one day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, well, my dad coming to terms with it, I think it's whenever you face it, you just force yourself to come to terms with it. I know like there's a lot of meditations where you meditate on your own death. Mm-hmm. You got to come to terms with it. Mm-hmm. My dad assumed he was gonna die when he was 35 or something like that. So he's like, I've been on borrowed time for 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 20 years. So he just thinks it's bonus time. He's like, yeah, I could go anytime. I'm fine.
Uh-huh.
It's like,
wow.
Bonus time.
Huh.
But I want to live to 128, so
right.
So I'm not ready. I'm not quite at peace with it like that. But I think it's a good place to be.
Yeah.
We talked about this too. It's just an attachment to an idea of yourself. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, the world can't go on without old Mitch in it.
Yeah.
How is everything going to be okay without me?
Right.
Without Mitch existing. Please tell me Mitch goes on after.
Yeah. Yeah. Are people going to talk about me? Are they going to remember me in a good way? What's going to happen when I'm gone? What am I going to be missing out on?
And the answer is no. Yeah, you might be remembered for a generation. You might be a damn Julius Caesar and be remembered for a couple thousand years.
Right.
But
that's a sliver.
Who is the sliver? Who is the Julius Caesar of 283,000 years ago? Guarantee there was great men.
Oh yeah.
Who are they? No matter what, you're getting swallowed. You and every idea about you is just getting swallowed by time. Mm-hmm. And the idea is to be okay with that. We're a little off the topic.
No, we're fine. Yeah. I like it, man. Let me tell you something about what I really respect about you as a person. And I'm not doing this to blow smoke up your ass, and this isn't like a promotional thing or anything like that. I'm just speaking from my heart right now, man. We're just talking. Yeah. You remember how I told you I despised fake people and that shit because it was a reflection of me. I was being fake. Mm-hmm. From the day that I met you, man, I was like, I can't bullshit this guy. Right. There's no, I'm not going to say something or do something and him not call me out or bring it to my attention because the dude's real and he's not worried about hurting my feelings or anything. And it's not like you were a dick or anything like that. That's not at all what it was about. And people like to take somebody being straightforward and honest as that person's a dick.
Yeah.
He didn't kiss my ass and tell me how awesome I am. Uh-huh. Why would they if it's bullshit? You know, that's what I knew. That's why if you ever compliment, which you did a lot, when you complimented me and told me I was doing a good job, I knew it wasn't bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes a person being real with you and calling you out on certain things and areas of your life and putting you in check, because how am I going to know that when you do give me a compliment or say, hey, yeah, you're doing good, you know, I would have sloughed that off as, yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for blowing smoke. Yeah, thanks, cheerleader. Yeah. Right. I knew when you were telling me something or we were talking about something, it was truth. Right. You know, it was real talk. It was real feeling, you know, which made when I got kudos from you, fuck, man, it really boosted me up, you know, because I knew it wasn't bullshit, right. You know, and I knew I was doing something right.
Well, you know, it's like the way I see it, and it's like I want to say just nice things all the time, to be honest.
Right.
It's kind of like sacrificing, you know, the idea of going to the gym. You got to sacrifice, instead of smoking weed and eating Cheetos, you got to go to the gym instead. Yep. Short-term pleasure for long-term satisfaction and progress. It's the same thing, right? So I could I could bullshit you and say the nice things all the time, whether it's true or not. I could ignore the stuff that, you know, I don't think should have been ignored. Or I could say it because it's going to be better. It's going to be better. Like if I cared about you,
right,
I would say it.
You know, because that's the only way I'm going to change and benefit.
Although it might not be what you want to hear at the moment. It might be like, maybe, who knows what their reaction would be. Like, you know, there's a lot of things that go through someone's mind whenever you're like, should I say this or not? I think if you care about the person, you don't have to be a dick about it. You don't have to sugarcoat it either. You just got to, you know, like you said, just be real.
Just say it.
And it's for the intention is for the purpose of being better.
That's right.
And you're there to be better.
And that's why I came to you. Right. Because I knew I would just bullshit my way through everything and would never get anywhere. It would be all bullshit.
Right.
I would just bullshit myself.
It's easy to do. We all do it. Yeah. That's why that extra outside set of eyes, you're not nothing. You can trick yourself so easily. Yep. Your mind is a tricky thing. Tricky entity. Like, it can talk you into anything.
Yeah, it can.
It's like whenever you
self-deception's the easiest thing and the worst thing.
You're good at it. Like,
very good.
You're like, I'm quitting smoking, and then your mind's like, yeah, well, let's go get a chocolate bar then. Right. Let's go to the corner store and get a chocolate bar. That's it. Okay. Well, we're here. You might as well one pack.
Yeah.
It's the weekend, and we'll pick it back up on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, who made the decision to go to the store and get that chocolate bar? Like, you tricked yourself. You know, it's easy to trick yourself, but you get that outside set of eyes, and you got a coach, and the coach is like, this doesn't.
What's that all about?
I don't think you're telling the truth, right? That's not right. Yeah.
And I think everybody needs somebody when you're making a change in life, about anything. I think if you're really honest and wanting to make a change, you know. I think you need to have an accountability partner, and whatever that may be, whatever kind of change you're trying to make.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do something different, the chances of us being able to 100% do it all by ourselves without someone holding us accountable, I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's rare.
Oh yeah, mentorship, partners, groups.
Yeah.
Whatever it works for you. Yeah, 100%. Like we're a communal species. Like we are better together. Like I like to say, like a primate. We are a primate. Like a primate alone in the jungle is a dead primate. Look at us compared to other animals.
Yeah.
We're like the weak, slow, nerdy kid in school who grew up to be everyone's boss. Like, we run the world.
Yeah.
But we're like, we can't fight. I probably couldn't even beat like a house cat in a fight. That house cat that comes around here, I bet she could fuck me up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Little gray cat.
Some bitch got claws.
That's a little house cat that we bred down to like a miniature version of like a big ass wild cat. Like we're from a very dangerous place in nature. We're not equipped physically. We can't run fast. We can't jump high. We're very weak. We're frail, hairless. We burn in the sun, for crying out loud.
No kidding, right?
But like, we run the world. And a lot of that has to do with our ability to work together. Like a human alone in the jungle is a dead human.
Yeah, exactly.
But together we rule the whole world. So
I like that. That's
right. If you want to maximize
There's
yourself,
power in numbers.
Yeah, you're part of a network. You're part of a network. You just got to be very careful how you structure that. Structure your network as if you're structuring your future self. You know, create your environment like you're creating your future self, because you are a product of your environment, the people you surround yourself with. So yeah, good coaches, good mentors, good groups, good people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Negativity. and a negative mind track may seem like it's okay for a minute, and then that shit snowballs, and before you know it, you've got a snowball as big as this house, and it's got a lot of momentum behind it, it is so hard to stop it. And then you've got to switch tracks, and that's hard, switching tracks and getting on the right positive mind track.
It's almost it's like a momentum game, right? It's like you're saying, like the more days you stack on top of each other, all of a sudden we're rolling. This is me now. You're creating a new identity.
Yep.
You have an old identity, like I'm the fuck up, I'm the addict, I'm whatever the old identity happens to be, and every time you do something new, it's kind of going against that old identity.
Right.
But the more times you do it, you're like casting a vote for that identity. You're like proving to yourself, like, this is who I am now. That's why daily workouts, like, daily workouts I'm a big fan of, especially for people that are trying to turn it all around.
You're right.
It's like, yeah, sure, you can get great results. I have clients getting killer results with 3 days a week. You can get great results with 3 days a week.
Oh, of course you can.
You're busy. You got to work it in. You got to make it happen. Great results.
Right.
But if you're trying to turn it around, you can't have those rest days.
You know what? I had somebody come at me, or it wasn't like in a negative way, or they weren't trying to be negative. They were just trying to help me. They thought like, he's like, man, what's your personal trainer doing? Got you working out 5 days a week. It's what I need, man. You know, it's what I need.
Yeah.
And I don't even need that personal trainer to tell me that.
Yeah.
You know, even if it wasn't for him, I'd still know 5 days a week, 7 days a week. Well, you know, the reason it was 5 is because, you know, you don't work on Saturday and Sunday, you know what I mean?
Right.
And there was times when I'd go up there on either a Saturday or a Sunday, so I was sometimes getting 6 days a week.
Yep.
But like you said, if you want to change it all the way around, dude, if you're making you know, a big change, it's got to be daily.
Daily
dude.
training.
It's a daily deal.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I train 5 days a week.
Yeah, and look at you.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you can't put on size and be where you want to be working out 5 days a week? Bullshit.
Yeah. You just got to manage
You got to know what you're doing. You got to be smart.
You got to manage it.
You do.
Yeah.
So I didn't get upset or offended at that person. I was just like, you just don't get it.
Right.
You know, you're not seeing the big picture here.
Yeah.
And he's a personal trainer for a reason. It's what he does for a living. I'm pretty sure he knows what he's talking about. You know?
Yeah, a lot of it really comes down to like what that person needs, and it's like, we should train daily. You need daily training. So the other guy I told you about, we're training daily.
Yep.
Yeah, it's you've got to cast those votes. You've got to reinforce that new identity. You've got to have that structure. Without that, without training that day, that's kind of like the staple holding the rest of the day together. You take away that domino, that domino that knocks the rest down. That no other dominoes get knocked down.
That's right.
You take away that foundation. You got to have that foundational piece.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed when I got that tooth pulled, and I missed the gym, I think for a whole week. Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah.
To miss, the tooth sucked too. Getting
that was
brutal. I mean, you saw me. That was awful, dude.
But death was whispering in your ear again.
Yes, dude. Like, oh man, that was bad.
Yeah.
But what was the worst about it was it took me out of that daily, structure and routine I had going, and it was like, I'm just laying in bed eating pain pills all day. What the hell am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
I'm back at where I was months ago, you know?
Yeah.
And I was taking the pain pills because I was in a tremendous amount of pain, but it's different for a person to take a tremendous amount of pain pills when they're in a lot of pain that has never had an addiction problem.
Correct, yeah.
That's completely different.
Yeah.
For me, it was like I was taking a bunch of them and because I was in pain, but at the same time, it was bringing back.
You already had that pathway wired real deep.
Exactly, dude. And it was
shoveling off the pathway.
Yes, dude. And I did. It was scary, man. And you helped, bring that to my realization too. Like, hey, I think we're done with the pain pills. It's been about a week. I think we're good here. You can throw those son of bitches in the trash. And I did.
They're no joke, man.
I had to give them to my mom.
Yeah.
I gave them to my mom before they became a problem.
Yeah.
They were probably actually getting to the point where they were about to start being a problem. And I had a baggie full of probably, I don't know, close to 30 of them left. And I didn't need them anymore at that point. I probably took them a couple days past the point where I needed to be taking them. I was like, you know what? I see where this shit's going. I grabbed them and went to the kitchen. My mom was at the computer, doing whatever she was on the computer. I was like, hey, Mom, here's these pills. I don't need them anymore. If I come to you and say I need them because my tooth is hurting, it's bullshit, and you need to take them and do whatever you do with them because I don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
So whenever you realize something, take action with it and do what you know you need to do before it's too late.
Right.
You know, before you don't have the willpower to make that decision.
Right.
You know, you recognize something, you better jump on it then instead of pushing it off. Then it's going to be like consuming you again, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you recognize something, all right, bam, handle it, you know? Go grab somebody.
Get it while it's a baby.
Exactly.
Kill that dragon while it's a baby dragon.
Yeah, buddy, because if you give it just a couple days too long, you're
motherfucker's breathing fire now.
Yes, sir.
Big
And it's
as hell.
destroying and it's burnt down everything you've just, you know, built up to.
Yep.
So yeah, that's for anybody that struggles with addiction or anything like that.
You know, I think a lot of people might be like, well, I don't. You know, I'd say, yeah, you do. Mm-hmm. Everyone copes. We all cope somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not sugarcoat it all. Like, life is hard.
And very
hard. It has challenges,
yeah.
and we all cope somehow. Might not be with meth. Might not even be with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It might be with TV. It might be with your phone.
Mm-hmm.
It might be with food. A lot of people's food's like very overused drug.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah, it might be. It could be any number of things. Anything has potential, good or bad, has potential to be a coping mechanism and an addiction. So
everything can be perverted.
That's right.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's a good way of putting it.
Reading the Bible, anything can be too much and can work for the bad as opposed for the good.
Right.
You know, even things that are good.
Yeah.
So you just gotta be careful, and it's all about awareness.
The poison is in the dose, right? Food is good.
Yeah.
Food is medicine. But too much is poison.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some things that are pretty inherently bad.
Yeah.
Meth at any
at any given time, probably not a good idea.
In the right dose, meth is medicinal. And, probably just stay away from that one altogether.
Yeah.
You know, it's
hey.
in the right amount.
The right amount would be okay. Yeah.
You got a lot of work to get done. A little bit
Yeah.
won't hurt you. Yeah.
Got some old junk cars to tinker on in the backyard. It'd be all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
People. Surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah, I think that's.
Don't go it alone.
I'm really intrigued with. We've talked a lot about this too. I'm really intrigued with the whole tribe aspect. How men in today's society, we talk about how grown men don't have friends. Like we just take care of business. We go home, we drink our 3 Miller Lights, and we go back to our damn cubicle the next day and bring home a paycheck.
Right.
Do it alone, like lone wolf it. Like I got problems. Yeah, I'm hurting, but men don't talk about that shit.
Right.
So I think I'm really intrigued with the fact that there's a loneliness epidemic. That could be just the thing. I mean, that could be the thing that you're dealing with. Everything might be good. You might be like, what's wrong? Everything's in place. You might just be lacking male companionship. I hope that has a weird sound to it.
It doesn't.
Sounds like an ad.
No. I mean, but you're right, dude.
Yeah. I think men are like, picture like waking up every morning, meeting the men of the village, like back in a hunter-gatherer society, to go hunt for the village, everyone together, going to war together, like a tribe, tight-knit group going through difficult conditions together. Like we're built for that. We're built. Right. That's in our DNA. But now we're like, go home after work, sit on the couch, look at our phone. Social media is like a fake, fragile version of connection, and you just don't have a tribe. You don't have that tribe, and I think that's one thing we need.
I agree.
That's one aspect that's missing.
We just compete now.
You compete, yeah.
All you do is compete
instead of building each other up. Yeah.
You look like you said it perfectly at the gym one day. It's like looking out the window. Oh, Joe Bob got a new truck. Honey, load up. We're going to a dealership. We got to get a new truck because Joe across the street got one, Yeah. Just always competing.
Now it's on steroids because we have Instagram and Facebook. So now it's like you're not just competing with Joe Bob. Now you got Joe. Now you got Dan Bilzerian. Oh, Dan, he's doing pretty well. He's got his life together.
This motherfucker just goes on vacation all the time, you know?
Yeah, what am I doing in my life?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got that on steroids now. And I think we instead of and competition is a good thing. It should be controlled and in an arena, and it should be a shake hands after thing. Like thank you for providing me with competition. I need that to sharpen each other's swords. Competition's a great thing, but it shouldn't be like your nonstop default mode. Default mode should be tribe, building each other up. I think it would do men a lot of good to check a few boxes as a group together, like heavyweight training. Train together, maybe a little group, maybe like every Wednesday night or 2 Wednesday nights or 1 Wednesday night a week. You eat steaks and talk about, you unload, get shit off your chest, eat quality food, smoke a good cigar, something like that, and just talk about what you got to talk about.
Right.
And then maybe one other day a month, you do something meaningful, selfless within your community. I think that's doing things like that as a group, as a tribe. Physical training, obviously, I believe that's as close to magic as we've got. I'm biased, yes, being a trainer, but physical training, I think, is just a pillar for everything. And then just the ability to talk about, guys get together. Yeah, some guys get together. You talk about who would win in a fight between Inspector Gadget and RoboCop, and that's about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so I think it would be good to develop relationships where you can, men can be vulnerable too, like the way it's kind of a default for you. The authenticity and vulnerability, like you are good at that. Not most people aren't. Or they just don't have the opportunity to be.
Right.
They don't have the chance to be, because with the dynamic of most relationships, and I'm going to say most because every relationship has its own flavor, but the dynamic of most relationships does call for the man to be stronger, silent, I'll take care of it, don't fret, I got it. And the man should be able to be like that, but not all the time, because he's a fucking human being.
Thank you. Exactly.
Not all the time.
Yeah.
So I think you need that ability and that opportunity to be like, man, this is what I'm dealing with.
I need help.
Yeah.
I need to talk to somebody.
This is what's going on with me. Like, yeah.
It's okay to be broken at times.
Yeah.
Accept that and know that, you need some help. You need somebody to lean on and build you back up and help you out.
Yep.
Through certain areas and points in your life.
You got to give and you got to take.
Exactly.
Men are giving. Just giving. It's hard for them to take. It's hard for them to be like, well, this is me in the vulnerable situation now. This is me, like, man, I'm not dealing with this too well. This is tearing me. This is weighing me down. This is slowing me down. Whenever you get that shit off your chest, you get that sorted out. You get that figured out. You get it lined up. You get it, you share it. You work on it. Well, now you can be that strength for whether it's your family or whatever your dynamic is. You can be that strong individual that you need to be. You can't be that all the time without taking care of yourself too. So I think that's an important aspect. We're not so great at it. We need to work on it. We need to lift more weights.
Yeah.
We need to eat better food.
Seriously, dude. But you said it's a pillar, right?
Yeah.
No bullshit, it is.
Right.
And what we put into our bodies every day, that's our temple, right?
Yeah.
Like if you put fucking corn syrup in your car, I can promise you it ain't gonna run.
Right.
Yeah. If we're constantly clogging ourselves up with bullshit, whatever that may be, there's a lot of it out there. I'm not saying we can't enjoy certain things sometimes, but
for sure,
your core base of your intake of what you're putting in your body on a daily basis you need to look at it. You need to examine it and know. And don't just take somebody's word for it either, Know what you're putting in yourself, We only get one body. When we trash our trucks after 5 years and treat it like shit and miss oil changes and whatnot, that's fine. Because what do? We trade it in and we go buy a brand new one.
Yeah.
No big deal, right? When you beat the shit and trash your body, there's no trading it in for another one, man. That's it.
That's your interface with the world. I mean, that just dictates your quality of life so much. It dictates how people treat you, like it or not.
You're right.
Yeah, you can have whatever opinion you want to have on beauty standards or whatever. Your opinion isn't that interesting. I'm looking at your opinion isn't that fucking interesting. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, looks matter. We have
they do. That's how you're immediately perceived.
We are perceived a certain way. It's unconscious. People judge you a certain way immediately. Yeah.
I mean, you got dating apps out there that it's either a swipe right or a swipe left. What's that based off of?
Yeah.
That fucking picture you're looking at right there. You don't scroll for the second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Yeah.
It's that first picture you see. It's either a right or a left.
It is, and it is what it is, whether you think it's right or not.
Right.
And humans developed this incredible vision for a reason. We're very visual creatures. And how you're perceived dictates how you're treated to a large degree.
You're right.
People make snap decisions, fair or not, judgments, I should say. Snap judgments, whether they're fair or not, they make them. It happens. And,
right.
It's how you see yourself. It's how you feel about yourself. It's how you carry yourself. It's the way how you do one thing is how you do everything. So it's gonna spill over to every aspect of your life, like how you feel. I always say start with the body. You don't have to have a 6-pack and like look like a model if you don't want to.
Right.
But so often, so many people are struggling with things like anxiety and depression and things like that.
It's rampant.
And it is. And the initial thing is, well, if something wrong with my mind, I need to fix my mind. And you can read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius all you want. You're going to get some good nuggets. But if you're not getting sleep, if you're feeding your body shit, if you're not training it, because it is meant to lift, run, and throw and, do stuff. You're not training your body. You're not sleeping. You're feeding your body shit. Read Meditations as many times as you want. You got to check those 3 boxes first. You've got to take care of the body. Take care of the body often. Hydrate. Take care of the body. Usually the mind follows pretty closely. Yeah, there's some work that can be done in the mind, but a lot of the time it's pretty simple.
I agree with that 100% because I've experienced it myself, right? And I'm not saying that. So mental illness is a real thing in our nation, and it is a big deal. So I'm not cutting that down.
We're not saying this is the cure.
Right, we're not exactly that. Right, there are certain mental illnesses that do take a pill and there is no other way around it, right? But I will say this: I feel like our nation as a whole has kind of used it almost kind of like a crutch to immediately run to the doctor and get that pill. That I did it.
That's how we deal with things.
I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I'm not casting judgment on anybody that's on medication or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you will kind of dig into your daily life and examine like how you're treating yourself, what are you pumping in your body? Because everything's connected, right? Your mind is a result of what you're putting in your gut, in my opinion. I think your gut's more powerful than your mind.
Yeah, your gut controls your mind to a large degree. Your gut bacteria.
Right.
Yeah.
So take a step back first, look at that. Let's try changing, our lifestyle as opposed, it's like perfect example, being a diabetic, right? It's like, well, I've got that insulin in the fridge that I can jam into my gut, so I'm going to eat 15 fucking donuts.
Just double the dose up.
Just double the dose, baby. We're good. Bring it on. I'm going to eat whatever the hell I want.
Right.
I got insulin in the fridge. I've got whatever.
Yeah.
No, we need to take a step back and really examine, how we're living and how we're taking care of ourselves.
Right.
Give that a chance first.
Yeah.
And if there's still some things that need to be addressed, then that's...
You got to work on everything.
Right.
Yeah, but I think if you don't know where to start, you start with the body. It's like, check. Ask yourself, am I checking these boxes? Am I hydrated? Because it's insane how that'll affect your mood. I'm dehydrated. Like all of a sudden, everything's a catastrophe.
Yes.
You get hydrated, and it's like, it's okay. Are you sleeping?
Oh, big part.
Most people aren't sleeping. Are you training regularly, lifting heavy things? And what was the other one I said? Food. Yeah.
Food. Yeah.
Yeah, the food you put in your body. It's so unsexy because it's so basic. But if you take care of those 4 boxes, see where you're at.
Give that a chance first.
And read Meditations by read good books, read good stuff. Like meditate yourself, go for walks, do the things that are good for your mind too. Develop yourself emotionally and mentally. But yeah, you gotta take care of your body. There's no way around that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's done wonders for me, man. Whenever I focused on my body.
There's no different, I like to say, like, people are like, well, it's good for body and mind. It's like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Where is your mind?
Yeah,
it's right here.
Exactly.
It's here.
Yeah.
It's not just your brain.
Yep.
Your mind is your body is your mind. If you're lifting weights, you're training your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So where are you at now?
Man, I'm doing great. I haven't been able to do anything real physical at all, like as far as going to a gym, first off, because I'm so far from a gym where I'm at, out in work.
Right.
But that's no excuse. I mean, I can get out of my trailer and strap my tennis shoes on and go run, 6 miles.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for that. So now I'm just finding other ways to get my physical activity in wherever I'm at. There really is no excuse. It can be done, right?
Yeah.
And as far as how I feel though right now, mentally, physically, bam, I'm
nice.
Up here, dude.
Yeah.
Better than I have been that I can recall.
Like ever, all time.
Ever. I am 100% sober. I haven't been smoking weed. I haven't drank in almost a year now. There is no mind-altering substances going through my body other than coffee, and I like to dip some snuff. You know, when I'm on the rig, I got a dip in most of the time.
Yeah.
Other than that,
you can't have a handlebar mustache and not dip. That's like,
exactly.
That's a rule, right?
Yeah, they won't take me serious.
No, not at all.
So, other than that, yeah, and I'm first time ever. I'm loving it, man.
Yeah.
And there's no anxiety. I don't have any depression. I don't feel alone.
Right.
It's just, I'm living, I'm doing, and I'm loving it, man.
Yeah.
Then I think it all goes back to mind, body, spirit, and taking care of that and doing the things in order that you need to do so that is taken care of.
Right.
And when all those things are lined up together, you can't help but be in a good mood and be happy, It doesn't mean you're going to face bullshit and have a day where you're kind of down and out, but you don't stay there.
Yeah.
When you stay there is whenever everything else is chaotic and screwed up and you don't have your order and structure the way it's supposed to be. If you keep that and everything in line, that's when you can go through life and you can hit those speed bumps and those roadblocks that you got to go around and still keep focused.
Right.
And not fall off and just blah,
Get kicked, punched in the face. Just look back.
Right.
Get your shit back in order.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it all starts with that decision. You got to make the decision first, like I did that day driving. I was like, fuck.